The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched wider than 3 football fields. Hundreds of alien creatures sat in curved rows that went up toward the ceiling. Lights of many colors shined down on a round platform in the center. This was where Ambassador Alan Wright now stood. His blue formal uniform looked plain next to the colorful robes and natural coverings of the alien representatives. Alan was tired. Not just from standing for 4 hours while the council debated, but from years of the same arguments. He had served as Earth's main speaker to the Galactic Council for 8 years. In that time, humans had gained little from their membership. The room quieted as High Elder Zorak raised all 4 of his slender arms. The Elder's skin glowed with a soft purple light that brightened when he spoke. The Council has considered Earth's request for defensive weapon plans, Zorak said. His voice sounded like wind chimes through the translator device in Alan's ear. Once again, we must say no. Humans are young. Only 300 years of space travel is not enough time to show you are ready for such power. Alan felt heat rise in his chest. He had expected this answer, but it still made him angry. Last month, 3 human colony ships had been attacked near the edge of their space. The aliens who attacked them, the Kreks, were also part of the Council. When Earth asked for help, the Council only offered to look into the matter. With respect, High Elder, Alan said, keeping his voice even. The attacks on our ships continue. The Kreks deny responsibility, but we have proof. He pressed a button on his wrist device. A large image appeared in the air above him. It showed a recording of a Kreks battlecruiser firing on an unarmed Earth transport ship. Whispers spread through the hall. The Kreks ambassador, a tall, insect-like being named Vexkar, jumped up from his seat. His hard outer shell clicked as he moved. This recording is fake, Vexkar shouted. Humans are trying to turn the Council against us. Alan shook his head. Our scientists have verified this recording. It is real. High Elder Zorak made a sound like bells ringing. In the Council, this meant everyone should be quiet. The Council will study this evidence, he said. But even if it is real, giving humans advanced weapons is not the answer. Perhaps we should place Council observers in human space to keep the peace. Alan looked across the hall at Susan Reeves, Earth's head scientist. She gave him a small nod. They had talked about this possibility. If the Council would not help Earth defend itself, they had another plan ready. High Elder, Alan said. Earth has been a loyal member of the Galactic Council for 70 years. In that time, we have followed all your rules. We have shared our art, music, and basic science. We have traded fairly with all member species. But the Council has not kept its promise to protect us. The hall grew very quiet. What Alan was saying was unusual. Most species never questioned the Council. This morning I received new instructions from Earth's government, Alan continued. I am here to inform you that Earth is leaving the Galactic Council, effective immediately. The hall erupted in noise. Some aliens stood up, others changed colors, and many spoke at once in different languages. The translation system couldn't keep up. You cannot do this, Vexkar shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. No species has ever left the Council. There is no rule against it, Alan replied calmly. We joined by choice. We can leave. The same way. High Elder Zorak raised his arms again, but the noise didn't stop right away. When it finally grew quiet, his purple glow had darkened to a deep blue. Ambassador Wright, he said slowly. Leaving the Council will have serious consequences. Your ships will not be welcome at Council ports. Your colonies will not receive Council protection. Your economy will suffer without Council trade. Alan nodded. We understand the risks. Earth has prepared for this decision. In truth, humans had been preparing for years. In secret labs on Earth and hidden bases on distant moons, scientists had already developed many of the technologies the Council had refused to share. It was against Council rules, but humans knew they might need to protect themselves one day. From her seat, Susan watched with mixed feelings. As head of Earth Science Division, she knew what was coming next. Freedom from council rules meant they could finally use the new faster-than-light drive her team had created. It meant they could build proper defense systems for their colonies. But it also meant they would be alone in a dangerous galaxy. Alan collected his notes from the small table beside him. Earth thanks the Council for its hospitality over the past 70 years. We wish peace and prosperity to all member species. As he turned to leave, a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin approached him. It was Lantol, ambassador from the Viridian worlds. Unlike most council members, the Viridians had always been friendly to humans. "This is a dangerous path, friend Alan," Lantol said quietly. "But perhaps a necessary one. Not all in the council agree with the High Elder's decisions. Watch for messages from friends in the days ahead." Alan nodded slightly. "Thank you, Ambassador. Earth will remember who stood with us." The human delegation gathered their things and walked toward the large crystal doors at the end of the hall. Guards with ceremonial staff stood on either side but made no move to stop them. As the doors opened, bright light from the three suns of the council world streamed in. Alan took one last look at the great hall. For better or worse, humanity's future would now follow a different path. In the shadows of an upper balcony, a figure watched the humans leave. Unlike the other council members, this being had kept silent during the whole meeting. Its eyes, which could see beyond normal light, noticed something the others had missed. The humans were not afraid. That was interesting. Perhaps they knew something the council did not. The figure slipped away silently. Reports would need to be sent. Plans would need to be changed. The humans had just done something unexpected, and that made them worth watching. As the Earth delegation boarded their ship, Alan looked out at the beautiful council world below them. Its crystal cities glittered in the sunlight. For all its faults, the Galactic Council had brought peace to thousands of worlds for over 30,000 years. "Do you think we did the right thing?" asked George Miller, Alan's assistant. Alan watched as the planet grew smaller below them. "I don't know, George. But I do know we couldn't keep waiting for the Council to decide we were ready. Sometimes you have to make your own path." The ship's engines hummed as they powered up. Soon they would be heading home to Earth. An Earth that now stood alone in the galaxy, but perhaps not for long. 5 years passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. In that time, many things had changed. Where once humans had looked to the stars with wonder, now they looked with caution. The Council had kept its word about trade restrictions. No Council ships visited human worlds anymore. No human ships were allowed at Council stations. But humans were good at solving problems. Without Council trade, they found new partners. Small groups of aliens who were not part of the Council began to visit Earth. Some came to trade goods. Others came because they were curious about the species that dared to leave the mighty Council. The biggest changes happened on Jupiter's largest moon. Here, hidden from easy view, humans built the Helios Research Station. It was a place where scientists could work without Council rules. Dr. Nancy Powell was one of those scientists. Nancy stood at the window of her lab, looking out at the gas giant Jupiter. Its swirling storms of red and orange filled most of the view. She turned back to her team, who waited around a large machine in the center of the room. "Let's try again," Nancy said. "Power up the field generators slowly this time." The machine hummed to life. It was shaped like a ring, 10 feet across. Inside the ring, the air seemed to bend and twist. This was the gravity lens, a device that could bend space itself. Under Council rules, humans should not have this technology for another 500 years. "Field strength at 60%, said Eric Young, Nancy's assistant. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. 70%, 80. It's holding steady. Nancy smiled. For months they had tried to make the device work properly. Each time, the field had collapsed before reaching full power. If they succeeded today, it would mean human ships could travel 10 times faster than before. 90%, Eric continued. 95. 100. Field is stable. The team cheered. Inside the ring, the air now looked like the surface of water, rippling and flowing. Nancy picked up a small metal ball from her desk and tossed it toward the ring. Instead of passing through, the ball stopped at the edge. then slowly sank into the rippling surface. A moment later, it appeared, on the other side of the lab, falling gently to the floor. "We did it," Nancy said quietly. "A working wormhole generator." The celebration was cut short by the lab's emergency alarm. Red lights flashed along the walls. Director Henry Blackwell's voice came over the speakers. "All research teams, save your work and prepare for lockdown. We have detected 3 Krex warships entering the solar system. This is not a drill." Nancy and her team quickly backed up their data and shut down the gravity lens. Through the window, she could see defense platforms moving into position around the station. Earth had built these platforms in secret, using technology they had developed on their own. In the station's control center, Director Blackwell watched the main screen with a grim expression. 3 red dots moved toward Jupiter, representing the Krex ships. "Message from Earth Defense Command," said a young officer. "They're sending 6 ships to help us, but it will take 20 minutes for them to arrive." Henry nodded. "Send a message to the Krex. Tell them they are entering restricted space and must turn back immediately." The officer sent the message. The response came back quickly. "They say they're on a peaceful mission to inspect this station," the officer reported. "They claim the Council has reports we are developing forbidden technology." Henry laughed without humor. "Of course they do. The Council can't stand that we've managed without them. Well, they're about to learn how well we've managed." He turned to his second-in-command, a tall woman named Grace Kelly. "Captain Kelly, power up the defense grid. If they cross the warning line, you have permission to fire." Grace nodded and moved to the weapons control station. The Krex ships continued forward. They were now just past the orbit of Europa, one of Jupiter's other moons. "They're charging weapons," reported a sensor officer. "They're targeting our main power systems." "They crossed the line," Henry said. "Captain Kelly, show them what humans can do when left alone." Grace activated the defense grid. Hidden doors opened on the station's outer hull, revealing weapon ports. Energy beams lanced out, striking the lead Krex ship. The Krex seemed surprised by the strength of the attack. Their ships turned quickly, trying to get into better positions. "They didn't expect us to have weapons this powerful," Grace said. "The Council told everyone we were helpless without them." The battle was short but fierce. The Krex ships fired back, damaging one part of the station, but the human defenses proved stronger than the Krex expected. Within 10 minutes, 2 Krex ships were badly damaged. The third turned and fled. "Should we chase the last one?" Grace asked. Henry shook his head. "No. Let it go. Let it take the message back to the Council. Humans are not defenseless anymore." After the battle, Nancy and her team returned to their lab. Part of the ceiling had collapsed during the attack, but the gravity lens was undamaged. "We should move this to a safer location," Eric suggested, looking at their invention. Nancy nodded. "Yes, and we should start building more. I think we're going to need them." News of the battle spread quickly through human space. On Earth, people watched recordings of the fight with pride. After years of being treated like children by the Council, humans had stood their ground. Unknown to the humans, the battle was being watched by others as well. In hidden places across the galaxy, young species who chafed under Council rules saw what humans had done. They saw that it was possible to stand against the ancient powers. Secret messages began to pass between worlds. Questions were asked. Ideas were shared. On a small planet far from Earth, representatives from 6 non-Council species met in secret. They watched the recording of the battle again and again. "If the humans can do this after only 5 years away from the Council," said one, "what might we accomplish together?" The seeds of change had been planted, and they would grow faster than anyone expected. 10 years had passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. During this time, humans had not stayed alone. They had formed quiet friendships with other species who were unhappy with the Council. These allies did not openly oppose the Council, but they traded with humans and shared information. Together, they called themselves the Independent Coalition. Commander Lisa Bennett stood on the bridge of the Earthship Pioneer. It was the newest and fastest ship in Earth's growing fleet. The Pioneer had a special mission to find out who was attacking human outposts and allies. Lisa looked at the floating screens around her. They showed the remains of a mining station. The station had belonged to the Trell, a furry species who were Earth's first allies after leaving the Council. 3 days ago, someone had destroyed it. What do the scans show, Paul? Lisa asked her science officer. Paul Garcia studied his screen closely. He was young for his position, but very smart. Something strange, Commander. These aren't Krex weapons that hit the station. Then who? Lisa asked. Paul touched some controls, making the image bigger. The burn pattern matches myth weapons, very powerful ones. Lisa frowned. The myth were one of the oldest species in the Council. They looked like walking crystals and thought they were better than everyone else. They rarely left their worlds, and they never did their own dirty work. Why would the myth attack a small Trell mining station, she wondered aloud. Maybe they didn't, said Paul. Maybe someone used myth weapons to make us think it was them. Lisa nodded. Or maybe the Council is helping the Krex with better weapons. She made a decision. Send all this information to Earth Command, then set course for the Trell homeworld. We need to talk to their leaders about this. Far away, on a planet called TRAPPIST-7, another meeting was taking place. TRAPPIST-7 had been one of the first human colonies. Now it was home to many species. In a room deep underground, Jack Foster met with aliens from 12 different worlds. Jack had once been a diplomat, but now he worked in intelligence. His job was to find out what the Council was really doing. The aliens around the table were his contacts from different worlds. Thank you all for coming, Jack said. I know it's dangerous for some of you to be seen with humans. A tall, bird-like alien named Creel bobbed her feathered head. The Council grows more suspicious each cycle. They question any species who trades with humans. Yet here we all are, said a small green alien named Zix. He came from a water world and had to wear a special suit to breathe air. Because we all see the pattern. Jack pressed a button, and a map of the galaxy appeared above the table. Red dots showed all the places where attacks had happened in the last year. 28 attacks in 10 months, Jack said. All on worlds or stations that trade with humans or other independent species. The Council blames pirates, or says the Krex are acting alone. But you have found something else? Asked Creel. Jack nodded. We captured this 2 weeks ago. He showed them a recording of a Krex ship meeting with a larger vessel. The larger ship was clearly of Council design. They are transferring weapons, Zix said, his large eyes blinking rapidly. Yes, Jack agreed. Advanced weapons that the Krex shouldn't have. Weapons made by the myth. The room grew quiet as everyone understood what this meant. The Council wasn't just allowing the attacks, they were helping make them happen. But why? Asked a furry Trell representative. The Council has always said they want peace. Why would they help the Krex attack others? Jack had thought about this question for a long time. Because we threaten their control, he said. For thousands of years, the Council has decided which species gets what technology. They say it's to keep everyone safe, but really it's to keep themselves in power. He showed them another image. This one showed human colonies and their allies. The worlds were growing and building new technologies, without Council permission. We're proving that their way isn't the only way, Jack continued. And that scares them. Other species are watching what we do. If we succeed, more might leave the Council. So what do we do? Asked Creel. We cannot fight the entire Council. We don't have to, Jack said. We just need to show everyone what the Council is really doing. He leaned forward. My sources say that Council ships will attack a human science station next week. They'll make it look like the Krex did it. But we'll be ready. We'll record everything and send the proof to every world in the galaxy. The aliens looked at each other, unsure. The Council has ruled for thousands of years, Zix said. Can they really be stopped? I don't know, Jack admitted. But we have to try. Because if we don't, they'll keep attacking until we're all gone. One by one, the aliens agreed to help. They would warn their worlds. They would be ready when the time came. After the meeting, Jack went to a secure room to send a message to Earth. As he prepared the transmission, he thought about how much had changed. 10 years ago, humans had felt alone and afraid after leaving the Council. Now they were at the center of a growing movement. On her ship, Lisa Bennett reached the same conclusion, as she looked at more evidence of Council involvement in the attacks. The Council wasn't just punishing humans for leaving. They were trying to stop a change that had already begun. "Set course for Earth," she told her crew. "We need to warn them. I think a bigger attack is coming." As the Pioneer jumped to faster than light speed, Lisa didn't know that she was racing against time. The Council had decided that the human problem needed to be solved, once and for all. Their plan was already in motion. The Shadow War was about to become a real one. 15 years after leaving the Galactic Council, Earth was ready to make its boldest move yet. For years, humans and their allies had collected proof of how the Council controlled and manipulated younger species. Now they planned to share this truth with every world in the galaxy. In Chicago's Global Communications Center, Olivia Wilson worked through the night. She was the best communications expert on Earth, and she had helped build a new kind of transmitter. This device used quantum technology to send messages instantly across any distance. The Council couldn't block or stop these signals. "Final checks complete," Olivia said to the team around her. "The network is ready." President Daniel Clark entered the room. He looked tired but determined. As Earth's leader, he would give the order to send the message that might change everything. "Are we sure about this?" he asked. "Once we do this, there's no going back. The Council will see it as a direct challenge." Olivia nodded. "We're sure, Mr. President. Our allies are standing by. Their transmitters will boost the signal to reach every inhabited world." Daniel took a deep breath. "Then let's proceed." The message they planned to send was simple but powerful. It included proof that the Council had been lying for thousands of years. It showed how they had stopped technologies that would help younger species. It revealed that the Council had started wars just to keep species fighting each other instead of questioning Council rule. The proof came from many sources. Some was from human intelligence agents. Some was from allies who had secretly copied Council records. The most damaging evidence had come from the myth themselves. A myth scientist who disagreed with Council policies had given humans access to ancient records. "Transmission will begin in 5 minutes," Olivia announced. "All systems are green." Across Earth and on friendly worlds, people waited nervously. They knew the Council would be angry. They also knew that this was their best chance to break the Council's control forever. In space, human ships and those of their allies moved into defensive positions. They expected the Council to attack once the message was sent. On the bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship Defender, Admiral Ben Rogers watched his tactical display. "Any sign of Council movement?" he asked his sensor officer. "Nothing yet, sir," the officer replied. "But our long-range sensors show their fleet is gathering near the Centauri border." Ben nodded grimly. The Council had been building up its forces for months. Everyone knew a confrontation was coming. The only question was when. Back in Chicago, Olivia started the final countdown. "Transmission in 3, 2, 1, transmitting now." The quantum network activated. Across the galaxy, the message began to appear on communication devices of all kinds. On thousands of worlds, people saw the truth about the Council for the first time. On the Council homeworld, alarms sounded in the Great Hall. The High Elders watched in horror as their secrets were exposed for all to see. "Shut it down," shouted Elder Zorak. "Block the transmission." "We can't," a technician replied. "It's using quantum channels we don't control." Zorak's purple skin darkened with rage. "Then we have no choice. Send the order to the fleet. The humans have gone too far." The Council's response was swift and harsh. A massive fleet of warships jumped into hyperspace, heading straight for Earth. The Council planned to make an example of the troublemakers once and for all. What they didn't expect was the greeting waiting for them. When the Council fleet arrived, at the edge of Earth's solar system, they found they were not alone. Ships from 37 different species had formed a defensive line. Some were old Council designs. Others showcased new technologies developed during the years of independence. Together, they created the largest non-council fleet ever assembled. Admiral Ben Rogers sent a message to the council commander. "This is Admiral Rogers of the Earth Defense Force. You are entering protected space. Turn back now." The council commander, a cold and proud myth named Cavor, was shocked by what he saw. He had expected to find humans alone and frightened. Instead, he faced a coalition of species ready to fight. "This is High Commander Cavor," he replied. "By order of the Galactic Council, Earth is to be placed under council control for crimes against galactic peace. Stand aside or be destroyed with the humans." No one moved. The coalition ships held their positions. Cavor was about to give the order to attack when every communication system in both fleets suddenly activated. A message appeared coming from somewhere beyond either fleet. The message showed an alien unlike any most had seen before. It had a body made of what looked like flowing silver, and eyes that seemed ancient beyond measure. "We are the archivists," the being said. "We have watched and recorded the history of this galaxy for millions of years. We have seen the rise and fall of 17 councils before this one." Everyone on both sides listened in shocked silence. The archivists were thought to be just a legend, mysterious beings who observed but never interfered. "The cycle repeats," the archivist continued. "Each time a council forms to bring peace. Each time it becomes corrupt and controlling. Each time it falls when younger species rise against it." Images appeared showing ancient conflicts between forgotten species. They looked remarkably similar to the current standoff. "Perhaps this time, with humanity's intervention, the pattern may be broken," the archivist said. "We have chosen to speak now because we see a possibility for change. Will you repeat the mistakes of the past, or create something new?" The message ended, leaving both fleets in stunned silence. For a long minute, no one moved or spoke. Then Admiral Rogers sent another message to the council commander. "High Commander Cavor, we don't want to fight. We want freedom for all species to grow in their own way. Will you talk with us instead of starting a war?" Cavor faced a difficult choice. The council had ordered him to subdue Earth by any means necessary, but the archivist's message had shaken him. Could the council really be just one more in an endless cycle of rise and fall? "I will speak with you," Cavor finally replied, "but the council will not easily change thousands of years of tradition." "Change never comes easily," Rogers said, "but it comes all the same." As representatives from both sides prepared to meet, the galaxy held its breath. The truth about the council had been revealed. Now everyone waited to see what would be built in its place. 20 years had passed since Earth walked away from the Galactic Council. Now representatives from over 500 species gathered on Earth. They met in a building called the Unity Dome, which had been built in New Zealand. Unlike the Council's Great Hall, this meeting place had no high platforms or special seats. Everyone sat in a circle as equals. Catherine Lee stood to address the gathering. She was Earth's new diplomatic coordinator, chosen to help build something better than the Council. "Friends from across the stars," Catherine began. "We meet today not to create a new version of the old council. We are here to build something different. A galactic community where all species can grow in their own way, while respecting each other's rights." The past 5 years had been difficult but hopeful. After the standoff between the fleets, things had changed quickly. Many younger species had officially left the council. Some older species had joined them, unhappy with the council's secrets and control. The council itself had split apart. Many members stayed loyal to the old ways and retreated to their core worlds. But others recognized that change was needed. They joined the talks for a new galactic agreement. "The principles of our new galactic accord are simple," Catherine continued. "Knowledge will be shared freely. Each species will control its own development, and no one will interfere with other worlds without clear agreement from all." In the crowd, Admiral Ben Rogers listened with pride. 5 years ago, he had helped prevent a war that could have destroyed millions of lives. Now he watched as the seeds of peace grew into something lasting. Beside him sat Cavor, once a high commander of the council fleet. The myth had surprised everyone by becoming one of the strongest supporters of the new accord. After seeing the evidence of council manipulation, Kavor had questioned everything he had been taught. "Do you think it will work?" Kavor asked quietly. "Can so many different species really work together without someone in control?" Ben smiled. "I think we have to try. The old way led to secrets and fear. This way might lead to something better." The other side of the room, Jack Foster watched with mixed feelings. His work in intelligence had helped expose the council's lies, but he had seen the darker side of galactic politics. He knew that not everyone wanted peace. "The former council worlds are still dangerous," he said to Lisa Bennett, who stood beside him. "They have technology we can't match yet." Lisa nodded. She had been promoted to fleet commander after the standoff. "That's why we keep building our defenses. Peace works best when everyone knows we can protect ourselves." After Catherine finished speaking, representatives from many worlds stood to share their thoughts. Some were cautious, others excited. All seemed to understand that they were part of something historic. A tall, bird-like Crix spoke about fair trade between worlds. A small green Zix talked about sharing medical knowledge. A crystal-bodied myth discussed how ancient technologies could be safely taught to younger species. By the end of the day, most had agreed to the basic principles of the Accord. There would be many more details to work out in the days ahead. But the foundation was set. As the meeting ended, Catherine found herself standing next to an unusual visitor. The silvery form of an archivist had appeared at the back of the room. Few had noticed it watching the proceedings. "You have started something new," the archivist said in a voice like gentle music. "In all our records, we have not seen this approach before." Catherine was surprised but honored by the ancient being's presence. "We're trying to learn from the past," she said, "to break the cycle you showed us." The archivist seemed to shimmer with interest. "We will be watching. Perhaps this time, the ending will be different." Then it was gone, leaving Catherine wondering if the encounter had really happened. Above Earth, in the shipyards of orbit, the research vessel Enterprise prepared for its first journey. It was the largest ship humans had ever built, but it carried no weapons. Its mission was exploration and discovery, not conquest or control. The ship had been built by engineers from 62 different species. Each had contributed technologies and ideas. The result was unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. On the bridge, Captain Greg Wilson looked around with pride at his diverse crew. Some were human, but many were not. They represented 20 different worlds, all working together. "Status report," Greg said as he settled into the captain's chair. "All systems ready, Captain," replied the first officer, a Trell named Lorex. Her fur was neatly combed and her uniform perfectly pressed. "The new drive system is online and stable." Greg nodded. "Then let's make history. Set course for the unexplored regions beyond the Sagittarius Arm." "Course set," said the navigator, a human named Sarah Johnson. "Ready when you are, sir." Greg took a moment to appreciate this historic moment. Engage drive. The Enterprise's revolutionary engines powered up. They combined technologies from many worlds in a way the Council had always forbidden. The result was a drive system that could travel farther and faster than anything before it. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to bend. A pathway opened that shouldn't have been possible according to Council science. The Enterprise moved forward, its lights gleaming, and then it was gone, traveling to regions no one had explored before. Back on Earth, in what had once been the Council's embassy building, a new museum was opening. It told the story of humanity's journey among the stars. The final exhibit showed a simple plaque that read, "Here humanity chose to walk its own path, and in doing so, freed a galaxy to find its way among the stars." In the vastness of space, the silent observers known as the archivists updated their ancient records. For the first time in 2 million years, the cycle of rise and fall had been broken. Something new was emerging. What would happen next? Even the archivists, with all their knowledge, could not predict. But for the first time, in eons, the future held real uncertainty, and with uncertainty came unlimited possibility.